Good morning, Watermark. How are you guys? Good. I want to praise God and thank God with this testimony. It's a testimony that God leads me to a wilderness experience in the past several months. Um, it's about my brother. As I saw my brother's health grow from bad to worse, from being able to eat by himself to in need of people to feed, and from being able to walk freely to near zero mobility. From being able to respond to God's promises to living in fear constantly. To just tell you how bad the situation is or was, he went to emergency 8 times in 2 months. And from that 2 months period, he basically become not being mobilized, so he is not able to walk. It is in this situation I ask God, is that the end of Charles, my brother? His life? My conversation with Charles had gradually turned from encouragement into rebukes. I failed to love him well, I thought. Sometimes I tried to run for escape. My faith to God was distracted as I was trying to take things in my own hands. Every sermon, if you remember that we went through Numbers, every sermon we had on the book of Numbers spoke to my heart. I could easily identify myself as the grumbling Israel people, forgetting and ignoring God's faithfulness. My only comfort in those sermons is that I feel I'm not as bad as the Israelite people. Because at least my grumbling is for loving my brother, not loving for myself. I was looking for a special care elderly home for my brother as he is totally disabled. While he was still staying in the hospital, I went to almost all recommended elderly home in the area that he lived and hoped to find one where it is more affordable for us. And I asked my brother's church, there's a brother called Polo, to come and visit one elderly home. I find there's a vacancy. After a short discussion with the person in charge in the elderly home, Polo urged me to pay a deposit to secure the remaining bed in that elderly home. If you know me, I'm very prudent in terms of spending money. So I decided to kind of wait and see if there are other options. And out of my surprise, Polo pulled out a wallet and pulled out from the wallet $10,000 cash and pay for that bed down payment, which is a cash-only down payment. And I was shocked. To me, he is too compulsive, right? But we did secure the bed on that day. Little did we know, when my brother was in the hospital, we thought that there would be still some time he's staying in the hospital. Charles needs to be discharged from that hospital because the doctor said that his condition is stabilized and is no longer qualified to stay in the hospital. So that elderly home became the only option for us to put Charles in. And of course, Polo and I are so thankful, right? We thank God for the provision of this particular elderly home at the right time with the right people. With Charles having limited mobility, I also in parallel start to apply for government help for long-term care for him. We apply for what's so-called a CSSA scheme from the Hong Kong Social Welfare Department. And by the time when I received the first invoice of my brother's elderly home, the new one, the amount is about 11,300 Hong Kong dollars. $11,300. When I was about to pay the bill, I received a notification from the Social Welfare Department and they just approved a 2-year subsidies for my brother. And the monthly payout, to my surprise, is $11,450. So I guess God is giving $150 for us to buy some snack for my brother. So my initial response, of course, is to thank God for the timely financial support. Then when I ponder what exactly happens, I was convinced that God is trying to send me an important message to draw me back to Him. Why is God giving the exact amount, not more, not less? I think God is telling me that His provision is not random. We are so tempted to think that what we have received from God is random. But God is telling me that this is an intentional provision. Directly from God, the exact circumstances I was in. All of a sudden, everything becomes so personal to me. I recall the timing, the elderly home availability, Polo's involvement, the 10K cash in his wallet. All this worked together for God's provision of the elderly home for Charles. I felt at that time God was shouting to me, saying that He was here, and He knew every bit of my need, and He cares about it. So in hindsight, very interesting. What do I learn from this experience? Resonate a lot to a message that News preached on, I think, Psalms 62, on how do we trust God. There are 3 points I want to share with you. Hopefully this is helpful to you. God renewed my perspective of His presence. He's never absent from our lives, and He did not slumber like us. Second, He reminded me that my relationship with Him is always personal, never random. This reshaped the attitude in which I give thanks to Him. He assured me that He is always faithful and trustworthy in good times and in bad times. Wait on Him with patience instead of taking things in my own hands. So these are the 3 lessons I learned. I'm sure there will be more challenges ahead of us, meaning my brother, Polo, and myself, but we know we can trust God with praise and even thanksgiving in the midst of our difficulties. It is only through these difficulties we grow in trusting Him. My hope and my prayer is that this sharing would be helpful to you in one way or the other. Thank you for listening.